Most visitors imagine only safaris and sunset, but tucked between rugged coasts and soaring peaks, you can find the highest pub in Africa atop Sani Pass, and a mountain that literally wears a tablecloth of cloud. From the emerald sweep of Blyde River Canyon to the thunderous narrow gorge of Augrabies, in this video, I'll trace a ribbon from the Garden Route's forests to Cape Point's windswept cliffs, sip centuries-old vines in the winelands, Tsitsikamma National Park holds a rare coastal rainforest where ancient yellowwood and stinkwood trees cling to cliff edges above pounding Indian Ocean surf. These forests are home to endemic fynbos pockets and a canopy that captures mist and salt, creating a microclimate almost unique on the planet. Walk the suspended Storms River mouth bridge and feel the raw seam where forest meets sea, a living seam that has guided sailors and settlers for centuries. The river carves deep gorges into sandstone, their walls alive with hanging vines and secret waterfalls that appear after summer storms. Marine life below is startlingly rich, with kelp forests and hidden caves that shelter dolphins, whales on migration routes, and the occasional shy Osiphos African penguin. Kayakers who push beyond the surf enter a different world of sea-sculpted cliffs and bird colonies that refuse to be hurried. Trails like the Otter Trail link Tsitsikamma to the larger garden route, turning a simple hike into a multi-day passage through changing habitats. Each day on the path reveals new textures: sandstone ridges, fern-filled gullies, and panoramic ocean vistas that make maps feel inadequate. Local conservationists battle invasive plants and rising tourist pressure to keep the park's fragile balance in ace. And their work is threaded through every campground and ranger post. Community-led initiatives also bring traditional Xhosa knowledge of medicinal plants back into the conversation about stewardship. At night, the Milky Way spills over the canopy, and listening stations report a chorus of frogs and nocturnal mammals that textbook photos rarely capture. That nocturnal life connects seamlessly to nearby coastal reserves, ensuring corridors for species that rely on both land and sea. For those who come seeking thrill, abseiling and canopy walks are merely a doorway to quieter discoveries. Driftwood sculptures, tide pools full of life, and the simple geometry of lichen on boulder faces. Each discovery folds into the next, so a single day here insists you return tomorrow. And the next season too. Tsitsikamma is not just scenery. It's a living classroom where geology, oceanography, and human history collide in constant motion. Walk away with sand in your boots and names of plants you never knew existed, and the feeling that this seam of forest and sea quietly rewrites what you thought you knew about shorelines. It links to other garden route wonders, inviting longer journeys that trace South Africa's living coastline. And every return trip reveals new secrets, as if the park itself is writing a slow, patient story for those willing to listen. Sani Pass holds the highest pub in Africa, perched at 76 meters on a jagged Drakensberg ridge. Do you know Sani Pass slices through an icy, high-altitude landscape sheltering alpine plants found nowhere else? Those who climb its gravel spine cross from verdant valleys into a wind-whipped kingdom of rock and cloud. The road itself is a living history, once trodden by mule trails and now demanding seasoned drivers and stout vehicles. Travelers arrive at the border to trade stories over pints near a pub that crowns the ridge. From here, the landscape threads into Lesotho's highlands and links to hidden hiking routes that spill into waterfalls and basalt amphitheaters. Morning mists lift to reveal sheep grazing on plateaus and shepherds who read weather like scripture. The quartzite cliffs echo with whispers of sand rock art, reminders that people have navigated and revered this corridor for millennia. Driving upward, switchbacks expose sudden drops and panoramas that make every bend a small revelation about how erosion sculpts the earth. In winter, snow can turn the pass into a treacherous white cathedral, where four-wheel drive expertise and local guides become essential lifelines. Local lodges serve stews and rooibos, tying the wild heights to everyday mountain life. Guides will point downstream to rivers that eventually feed larger systems, linking Sani Pass to coastal estuaries hundreds of kilometers away. For photographers, the light carves sculpture-like shadows across ridgelines at sunset. Beyond the thrill of height, the pass is a corridor for rare birds like bearded vultures and ground-gleaning buntings that punctuate the Skammeltuis. But it is the human encounters, from Lesotho bootmakers to South African mapkeepers, that stitch Sani Pass into a living tapestry. Each vehicle that crests the summit carries a different reason for coming, and together, they make this place a crossroads of stories. The Garden Route cradles a coastline where temperate rainforest meets wild surf, creating a ribbon of biodiversity found in only a handful of places worldwide. Do you know that the Garden Route harbors ancient peaty forests in Knysna that host ghostly yellow wood trees older than many nations? From the fragrant coastal fynbos around Mossel Bay, the road threads through lagoons and cliffs toward Plettenberg Bay, where dolphins and migrating southern right whales play close to shore. In Knysna, the The deep blue lagoon hides a settlement of dwarfed indigenous forests and secret trails that lead to viewpoints looking over twin heads of fog. Travel inland and the mountains of Augrabies rise, their mist-dripped slopes giving way to winding passes that funnel rivers into spectacular gorges. The road then plunges into Tsitsikamma, where suspension bridges sway above primeval forests, and the storm's river mouth gnashes against stone in a deafening chorus. Adventure here is both ancient and modern. You can paddle to hidden caves by kayak, or step onto a bridge that spans a ravine carved over millennia. A short drive brings you to Drakensberg Bay's beaches and tidal pools that nurture bioluminescent waters at night under the right conditions. Wind your way to wilderness, where braided lagoons, reed beds, and dunes fuse into a landscape beloved by birdwatchers and photographers. From there, the route curves inland toward Utsjord, where Karoo Plains give up the Kango Caves, a subterranean cathedral of stalactites and history. Each town along the garden route trades one kind of wonder for another, from marine giants to underground chambers and mountain passes. The connections are not just scenic, but cultural, with small towns preserving unique crafts, cuisine, and stories shaped by land and sea. Hidden beneath the popular postcard vistas are fragile fynbos communities that host thousands of endemic plant species, some found nowhere else on Earth. Conservationists and local communities now work along this corridor to stitch together protected areas so migratory species and coastal giants have room to roam. The Cape Winelands in South Africa sit at the heart of the Cape Floral Kingdom, one of only 6 floral kingdoms on Earth, and the smallest yet richest by species density. Do you know the Cape Winelands harbors over 9,000 plant species in its fynbos slopes, many of them endemic and older than the vineyards themselves. Here, centuries-old oak-lined estates in Stellenbosch lead seamlessly into the narrow, wine-scented streets of Franschhoek, forming a living map of colonial history and culinary revolution. The names on these cellars are more than brands. They are the fingerprints of terroir, where granite, shale, and decomposed sandstone create microclimates that change the taste of a grape across a single ridge. Taste tells stories. Chenin Blanc thrives on the cooler slopes, while the uniquely South African Pinotage, born here as a 1925 cross, shows smoky, earthy notes that define local character. Dozens of estates still press grapes by hand alongside cutting-edge winemaking, producing everything from crisp, aromatic whites to bold, barrel-aged reds and sparkling Méthode Cap Classique. Drive the Hellschogte Pass, and you watch vineyards fold into fine moss-covered mountains, the same ridgelines that funnel winds shaping vine vigor and grape sugar. In Paarl, the massive granite outcrops stand like sentinels, their heat-retaining stones ripening grapes in pockets that winemakers prize for concentration and depth. But the winelands are not just taste and terrain. They are layered with stories of Huguenot refugees in Franschhoek, Cape Malay kitchens, and laborers whose hands coaxed vines from this soil for generations. Each tasting room becomes a classroom where history, botany, and geology converge, making a glass of wine a distilled piece of place and time. Seasonal harvests turn estates into buzzing towns of crates, grapes, and song, and annual festivals stitch communities to the rhythm of the vine. To travel the Cape Winelands is to follow a thread through nature, craft, and culture, and to arrive prepared to taste not just wine, but the history and wild beauty that make it possible. Small boutique producers experiment with ancient varieties and modern techniques, yielding unexpected wines that can surprise even seasoned palates. And even beyond the vineyards, the winelands' art galleries, crafts markets, and historic homesteads ensure that every corner connects flavor, form, and memory. Pilanesberg National Park sits inside one of the world's largest exposed alkaline ring complexes, a 1.2 billion-year-old volcanic formation that reshaped this landscape. Do you know Pilanesberg shelters all of the Big Five within that ancient rim and cradles permanent lakes that appear like emerald scars on a sunburnt plain? The ring's geological bones create koppies, ridges, and basins, which force wildlife into natural corridors, concentrating sightings into breathtaking encounters. Those basins fill with rain and groundwater to form a chain of lakes and marshes that sustain an astonishing diversity of life. Conservationists used this natural architecture in a bold experiment to reintroduce species during the 1970s, turning former farmland into one of Africa's most successful rehabilitation stories. Elephants now trace ancient routes between waterholes, while lion prides stake territories across the crater's shoulders, and leopards slip into the dense thickets. Bird life explodes here. Everything from African fish eagles to rare blue cranes wheel over reed-lined shores, drawn by the park's mosaic of wet and dry habitats. The juxtaposition of savanna and small wetland pockets creates microclimates where plants and insects, normally separated by distance, coexist side by side. Because Pilanesberg lies above the surrounding plains, sundowns are incredibly clear, revealing how the ring complex molds light and shadow into a living topographic map. Even the skies tell stories. Migrants arrive on seasonal winds to use the park as a rest stop between biomes. Visitors who think they understand African game reserves are often surprised by Pilanesberg's intimate encounters, where a watering hole can host buffalo, hippo, and diminutive otters at once. This crowded drama is orchestrated by geology as much as biology. The rocks that once bubbled and cooled still dictate where life clings and prospers. Walk the trails, and you will find ancient dolerite ridges transformed into termite havens and sun-splashed granite faces where klipspringer goats defy gravity. At night, the park flips tone. Nocturnal hunters emerge, and the crater rim becomes a stage for calls and clashes played out under starlight. Pilanesberg's proximity to human centers like Sun City created pressure, yet it also gave conservationists a laboratory to blend tourism with habitat restoration. The result is a surprising model: abundant wildlife, accessible safaris, and quiet zones where species can recover away from broad commercial development. In just a few hours inside this ancient ring, you can witness geological epics and evolutionary dramas layered into a single, living tableau. And if you think that is the end of the story, the park's secret water systems and burrowing ecosystems hold revelations that even seasoned guides sometimes miss. Pilanesberg reminds us that time and fire, rock and water can craft refuges of life in the least expected places. Stay with us, and we'll trace one hidden path from a lake's edge up to the rim, revealing the delicate threads that stitch this volcanic oasis together. Here, the Orange River plunges into a gorge nearly 240 meters deep at Augrabies Falls, shaping cliffs older than many landscapes elsewhere. Do you know, Augrabies comes from the Kwaiko phrase, meaning place of great noise, a name earned every time the river roars through. Leaving the sunburnt plains behind, visitors are confronted by thunder and spray that defy the desert air. The waterfall's sheer power carved a labyrinth of orange basalt and granite, creating pools and whirlpools that shift with the seasons. During flood months, the river swells into a moving wall, then recedes to reveal strange sculpted rock and algae-slick ledges. That ebb and flow supports a surprising patchwork of life, from resilient riverine trees to colonies of rock daisies clinging to crevices. Bird lovers follow black eagles and African fish eagles that ride updrafts along the gorge, scanning for fish and small mammals. On quiet mornings, the light turns the cliffs a molten copper, and the spray hangs like a distant curtain across the chasm. Campers and researchers alike are drawn not only to the falls, but to the braided landscapes of nearby canyons and floodplains. Trails lead from the rim down to viewpoints that reveal how water has cut away layers of time, exposing ancient geology. Local guides tell stories of how the Khoikhoi and other communities used the river's rhythms for survival and ceremony. Those human histories are etched into the land as much as the grooves made by millennia of currents. At dusk, the canyon cools quickly, bringing an orchestration of night calls and the metallic rattle of small mammals. Conservation efforts here aim to balance tourism with preserving fragile river habitats and the migratory routes of fish. A short drive connects Augrabies with other northern Cape wonders, so the roar of the falls often marks the start of deeper exploration. From this thundering heart, the landscape fans out into desert pans and wildflower corridors that burst after rare rains. Every visit to Augrabies is a lesson in how water shapes deserts, carving drama from what seems otherwise static. And every time the Orange River plunges, it reminds us that even the driest places can host extraordinary living forces. Stay with us as we follow the river downstream, where hidden pools and remote communities reveal more of this land's secrets. The story of Augrabies is not just a spectacle, but a doorway into South Africa's layered and surprising wilds. Table Mountain's summit preserves an ancient sandstone plateau where winds sculpted layers that date back over 600 million years. Do you know that Table Mountain National Park shelters more plant species than the entire United Kingdom, many of them endemic to its slopes? The mountain's signature tablecloth of orographic cloud can spill over cliffs like a slow waterfall, forming and dissipating within minutes. Beneath that cloud, the endemic fynbos biome bursts with proteus, ericas, and restios, adapted to fire and drought in ways few visitors expect. Hiking paths from the Pilanesberg Gorge to the 12 Apostles reveal shifting microclimates, each ridge hosting its own tiny ecosystem. Rock hyraxes cling to ledges, endemic sunbirds flit among nectar-rich blooms, and rare reptiles warm themselves on sunlit slabs. The park's dramatic cliffs are not an isolated island of wilderness, but the mountainous gateway to the Cape Peninsula. Follow the ridge south, and the landscape folds into Kirstenbosch's cultivated slopes, where botanical conservation links wild and garden. From there, the coastline curves toward Cape Point, where Table Mountain's geology meets the crashing Atlantic in a spectacular collision. Shipwrecks recorded along the peninsula tell human stories intertwined with the rugged topography, crafted by the same forces that lifted Table Mountain. Scientists return seasonally to study pollination, serotiny, and the mountain's fire-driven regeneration, uncovering survival strategies older than many nations. Visitors who think they know the view often discover hidden ravines, secluded coves, and plant species that exist nowhere else on Earth. In winter, the peak sometimes wears a dusting of snow, an unexpected crown that contrasts with sun-baked fynbos below. Local guides weave stories of indigenous Khoi and San connections to the land, adding human depth to geological wonder. Conservation efforts here are a model. Invasive species removal, controlled burns, and community-led protection maintain fragile biodiversity. Each initiative links back to neighboring reserves, creating corridors that allow species to move from Table Mountain to coastal habitats. As the sun sets, city lights spread below Seoul, reminding visitors that this wild plateau exists on the edge of a bustling metropolis. That tension between urban life and primeval landscape is why Table Mountain National Park remains an essential place for both silence and solace. To truly understand South Africa's ecological identity, you must trace the thread from Table Mountain's granite heart to the kelp forests fringing its shores. Only then does the park reveal itself as the nucleus from which the Cape's extraordinary biodiversity radiates. Bo-Kaap perches on the lower slopes of Signal Hill, its terraced rows of candy-colored houses forming one of the most photographed streets in Cape Town. Behind those kaleidoscopic facades hides a layered history of exiles, freed slaves, and Malay traders who shaped a unique Cape Malay culture. Narrow cobbled lanes carry the scent of simmering curries and freshly baked Coke Sisters, recipes preserved through generations. Minarets and the Awal Mosque punctuate the skyway, a living testament to the community's spiritual resilience. Many houses owe their vibrant repainting to a 1970s act of cultural reclamation that turned protest into pride. Each shade was chosen by families to mark identity, celebration, and a visible refusal to be erased. Tourists are drawn to Bo-Kaap Museum, where a single room reveals stories of forced migration and adaptation. Yet the neighborhood's real archive lives in the recipes, languages, and street names whispered between neighbors. Photographers chase the perfect angle, but those who stay longer find that Bo-Kaap's true portrait is its people. Children play in laneways that once echoed with different languages, yet each laugh resonates with the same communal heartbeat. Preservation efforts balance tourism with day-to-day life, aiming to keep homes lived in rather than turned into stage sets. In that balance lies the neighborhood's future, a living neighborhood that remembers, resists, and reinvents itself every day. Tsitsikamma Drakensberg Park shelters Mafadi, South Africa's highest peak, and the amphitheater cliff, one of the world's largest basalt escarpments. Do you know Tsitsikamma Drakensberg hides over 40,000 pieces of San rock art, a living library of stories etched across its caves and overhangs. Beneath those sheer cliffs, the land folds into misted valleys where endemic aloes and alpine grasslands cling to wind-sculpted ridgelines. Streams born in these heights braid into the Tugela River, which plunges from the highland to form Tugela Falls, ranked among the tallest waterfalls on Earth. Here, rare Afro-alpine wetlands act as sponges, regulating water for vast stretches of the eastern seaboard and feeding farming communities far below. Conservationists call the Drakensberg a water tower because its peatlands and bogs hold snowmelt and rain that sustain rivers through dry months. Wildlife is layered from Wani Mountain reedbuck and eland on the slopes to elusive bearded vultures circling above the amphitheater. Botanists come for endemic bulbs and ancient relict plants that survived past ice ages in hidden microclimates within the park. Walkers and climbers follow ridgelines that have linked communities for millennia, paths that carry both footfalls and oral histories between homesteads. The sand paintings themselves map journeys and ceremonies, tying human culture directly into the park's geological drama. In winter, the peaks can wear frost like a crown, transforming grasslands into a silver quilt that alters the behavior of animals and people. In summer, violent thunderstorms braid light and shadow across the amphitheater, revealing new angles of cliff face and rock art to those who look closely. Protecting Drakensberg means protecting the headwaters of entire regions and the cultural memory embedded in stone. As we descend from these heights, the rivers we followed carve a route toward coastal plains and the next chapter of South Africa's landscape. This mountain spine is not an isolated spectacle, but the starting point for stories that flow downstream into valleys, towns, and the Indian Ocean beyond. To understand South Africa's wild heart, you must begin where rock, water, and human history converge at Drakensberg Park. From the misty cliffs of God's Window and the sculpted ridges of the panorama route, the Blyde River carves a lush subtropical gorge that ranks among the largest green canyons on Earth. Its towering red cliffs, emerald river pools, and dramatic rock formations create a living map of geological time, seldom seen anywhere else. Here, the three rondavells stand like sentinels, rounded, beehive-shaped peaks whose names and shapes echo local Sangha legends. They mirror in still water at dawn, producing reflections that photographers chase for years. But Blyde is more than dramatic vistas. It's a refuge for endemic plants and rare birds, including the elusive Pell's fishing owl. Riverside figs and cycads cling to crevices while troops of vervet monkeys disappear into the canopy. As the river drops and widens, it feeds into series of waterfalls and emerald pools used by generations of locals for ritual and refreshment. The canyon's microclimates create pockets of rainforest where ancient ferns and orchids thrive. Guided trails and winding roads reveal hidden viewpoints, like Burke's Luck potholes, where swirling water has carved marble-like caverns. These natural basins have names and stories tied to early prospectors and indigenous histories. In the next section, we'll follow the river down, tracing how this green artery shapes both landscape and livelihood across Mpumalanga. Listen for the chorus of reed warblers and the metallic clack of kingfishers that announce every healthy stretch of water. Smell the petrichor after a summer storm that revives hidden waterfalls and fills the potholes with crystalline flow. Along the rim, old mining towns and rock art sites offer glimpses into human stories that have unfolded alongside the canyon for centuries. Their faded facades and ancient shelters remind us that Blyde is as much cultural terrain as it is natural monument. On the jagged promontory where the Cape Peninsula plunges into the Atlantic, Cape Point hosts one of the world's rarest floral kingdoms, the Cape Floristic region, cradling plant species found nowhere else on Earth. Do you know Cape Point sits within the Cape Floristic region, the smallest but most diverse floral kingdom on the planet? Mist and roaring seas carve cliffs where ancient fynbos clings to wind-scoured rock, creating a tapestry of colors that shift with the sun. Rock hyraxes, locally called dassies, sun themselves on the same ledges, animals genetically closer to elephants than to rodents. From the old lighthouse perch, you can see why mariners feared these seas, where the cold Benguela and warm Agulhas currents play a dangerous game. Shipwrecks number in the hundreds along these shores, and tales like the Flying Dutchman grew from this treacherous meeting of water and wind. Beneath the waves, kelp forests and upwelling nutrients support seals, penguins, and a population of great white sharks that patrol the kelp beds. Still, tiny endemic flowers like the pincushion protea hide in crevices, each species adapted to fire, wind, and salt spray in ways scientists are still deciphering. The original lighthouse, built high in 1859, was often obscured by fog, forcing engineers to build a lower light in 1919 that saved countless ships. Standing there now, the old tower looks like a relic and a warning, linking human ingenuity to the raw forces that shaped this coast. Walk the headland and the landscape shifts from thick fynbos to windswept grass, and then to sea, where seals bark on the offshore rocks. From Cape Point, you can follow sights to the nearby Cape of Good Hope, and on clear days to Table Mountain, connecting this point to the vast sweep of South Africa's coastline. Kgalagadi Transfrontier Park unfolds as one of the world's largest uninterrupted red sandveld wildernesses. Do you know it hosts fierce mighty raptors and black-maned Kalahari lions adapted to scarce water? Here, endless ochre dunes meet dry riverbeds where predators and prey move with ghostly silence. Lesser-known waterholes like Nosab and Aub act as oasis sea magnets, shaping life and lethal duels. At dawn, tawny hyenas and secretive cheetahs trace ephemeral tracks, while meerkats stand sentinel on the dunes. Nightfall transforms the park into an incandescent galaxy sky, where meteor trails etch the cold Kalahari skyline. Conservation in Kgalagadi is unique because fences were removed to create a cross-border sanctuary, bridging two nations. This transfrontier design lets animals follow ancient migratory routes beyond political lines, a rare achievement in Africa. Sandstorms sculpt ephemeral rivers and paint the landscape in rust, but underground lenses of water sustain isolated pockets of life. Hidden succulents and hardy acacias anchor food webs that in turn support elusive species rarely seen elsewhere. Guided drives reveal uncanny scenes, a lone lioness crossing salt pans, or black-backed jackals scavenging beetles at sunrise. Photographers treasure the crystalline light that flattens distance and turns each silhouette into a storybook icon. Beyond Kgalagadi's heartland, the sandy expanse gradually gives way to scrub, and then to the greener floodplains of the Orange River. This natural progression hints at the next leg of our journey, where waterways braid landscapes and communities adapt differently. Protecting Kgalagadi means balancing human livelihoods, cross-border cooperation, and fierce ecological rhythms that refuse human schedules. The park teaches patience. Survival here is a strategy written in wind, water scarcity, and stubborn resilience. If you think deserts are empty, Kgalagadi proves life can be brilliantly concentrated, raw, and surprisingly intimate. Stay with us as we follow the dry river's promise into greener valleys and unexpected cultural landscapes beyond its horizon. From the wind-carved cliffs of Table Mountain to the braided folds of the Blyde River Canyon, this land folds geological time into landscapes you can walk. Do you know that the Cape Floral Kingdom holds nearly 20% of Africa's plant species on less than 0.5% of its land? A tiny treasure of endemics and secrets. Across the coast, where the warm Agulhas current meets colder waters, sardine runs turn the sea into a living silver highway. And inland, the Vredefort Dome bears the scars of an ancient asteroid strike, a record etched in stone older than written history. From migratory whales off Hermanus to the silent flight of the endemic Cape sugarbird, life here adapts in remarkable ways. The parks and private reserves of the Lowveld are more than tourist backdrops. They are living archives where predator, prey, and people have rewritten survival stories for millennia. Travel the Garden Route, and you move through fine moss, lagoons, and dunes that conceal caves and fossil beds, each landscape folding into the next. Even the places that seem remote, like the red dunes of the Kalahari or the windswept tip at Cape Agulhas, are connected by ancient currents and human paths. There are rock paintings, fossil vaults, and microclimates that still surprise scientists with new species and fresh clues about our planet's past. So when you leave, you carry more than images. You carry questions about how these ecosystems endured, how people shaped them, and which small wonders you missed that will only be revealed if you come back. This is a place that rewards curiosity, where every river bend and mountain ridge hides a story waiting to be told. Return with eyes open, and you'll find that these landscapes do not give up their secrets easily. And that is precisely why their story endures.